Create with Fran Sidney. Create the life you want. Hello everyone, welcome to Create with Franz. And today we have episode 53. That's almost a year since I have started doing the podcast, so it will be quite nice to celebrate. It was the end of July. So what's gonna happen this year? And maybe nothing, maybe a big surprise, maybe a competition. Give me ideas. So the topic for the day is how to become really confident when preparing your curriculum vitae to apply for a position. So how to stop being worried and to start being confident, but knowing actually how the industry HR managers work. So stay tuned. The number one thing to know when you are looking for a job and you're sending your curriculum vitae or CV is that if you are confident in what you can do for the company and you have experience and you can detail and give statistics and data, you're much more likely to have a fluent and fluid conversation about what you can do for them. You're not going to the company to look for a job because you need to pay your mortgage, or because you have lost your car in an accident, or because your child is sick. They are not worried about that. They want to see somebody who is going to help the company to start up or to grow or to expand, and they're not there to do charitable work. So your motivation for doing the job should be that you can do it well and you can be an asset, not a liability. So remember that. And when you're aware of that, you can drop this level of anxiety that can really cripple a very successful interview. Why? Because if you are confident, you're not likely to be very anxious. Unless you're anxious just because you do not like to talk to new people. But then how on earth are you going to survive in an office? Then talk to me. We'll have a session about your anxiety, right? One very important aspect of explaining to yourself how well you can fulfill the job description is to understand that that description exists to fill a need in a company. So you really want to be in the mind of a HR manager. What is the responsibility of this person? He must know 99% of what's actually going on within a particular company. So you have to go through your departments, know what is going on, how people are performing, so he can see if you need more communication, if you need to coach some of the people there, etc., etc. A company doesn't just go look for people because they don't know how to fill their desks or how to fill their time. They are going to look for new people because they're swamped. They have too much work and some of their workers are just falling behind, and it's not because they're not good enough, it's just there is too much of a workload. So they will go to the HR manager and they will say, right, we have this problem and we need to find out how to increase our production or increase our productivity, which is another thing, right? And how to improve things in this company. So the HR manager could say, well, actually, yeah, we need to hire more people. So they're coming from a point of view, we have a problem, we have something that needs to be solved. And that's what you need to have in mind when you're actually writing your CV. And that will help you so much to feel confident because you know you're helping them. So when you are trying to picture in yourself the person that is hiring, this person is not looking to help you so you can retire and have a pension. He's not looking to help you to buy a car or to pay your mortgage. That's not his problem. He's looking for a problem solver. He's a person that's going to be hired, and whatever the demand is in the company, this person is going to fix the issue. So he's going to give a product, he's going to give a service, he's going to give something in his skill set that is going to help the company to move forward. So when you have, for example, a new startup that has been around for a while and they need, for example, to update their software and create things, or they need to create more policies, they look around and say, right, who can help us to do this? So they don't need one that a person wants to sell them something, but somebody who knows, yeah, I know how to update your software. I know how to make it work. I know how to make this and that you actually need. And this will put you into a winning position. I'm not saying that these have to be negative problems. Some problems are nice because these people starting by making, for example, 20 toys a day, and now they need to do 200. They have to create 200 of these toys. They have to sell 2,000, 2 million, and they need people that are helping to scale this process that they have. So it's not something negative. So when you hire somebody else to take on an increase of workload, it is a positive problem. They are expanding, and you want to have that problem. And so when the HR manager that you are trying to picture in your mind is working, he is having one question in his mind, and is, can Jenny, the person who wrote me this application, solve the problem? Can John help me to solve the problem? That's all they're thinking about. So the next point to work on your confidence that you can get a job is to really look at the job description. Look at it, because this job description is a list of responsibilities, but also a list of problems that you have to be able to fix, okay? So are you the right person to fix these problems, to expand, to progress, to regulate, to add new things? Or are you just applying because you like the money, you like the place? Then probably you're not going to get the job very easily, because you're not there to make the company go forward. And of course, there is something to think. The fact that you know the boss, or you know somebody in the office, and you can have a personal recommendation, is only helpful if you are the person that is going to ideally fulfill the vacancy and hit the ground running, and within a few days of being there, just, act as if it's always been there, because you know what to do. There is no point in being hired just because you're recommended and then not being able to fulfill this position, and to then feel very sorry later on because they will have to let you go. I would also suggest, unless you are 16 years old, do not write in your curriculum vitae profile, yeah, I'm going to apply for the job. Yes, I don't have experience, but you can train me. Well, yeah, of course, if you are just coming out with your GCSEs, you need training, but maybe you have some experience somewhere that you can quote that gave you those skills that are needed. And of course, cross-training employees is a great thing that companies can do. And you have a diverse skill set in the company, that's wonderful. But not all companies are looking to train new people, because it's very lengthy and costly. And a lot of people, after being trained, they go away and they leave the company back to square one. So remember, when you're looking at this job description, always look at it as if you're reading a list of problems, not just responsibilities. And so when you are hired, you are going to be required to fix these problems. And if you do not like the idea, why are you applying to begin with? This means, point number 4 or 5, that you want to really look at the things. If, for example, they say, well, you're going to be a warehouse manager, you have to look at all the day-to-day operations. There is a small group of people working there. You want to make sure that everything goes out, there are no fulfillment errors, make sure that delivery times are getting better, even increasing, that you can train people, you can help the team, and also you have to know all the logistics, all the equipment, and know how a warehouse safety framework is set up and everything. So what you look at when you read this, you have to say, okay, first of all, they don't have a warehouse manager, and actually I can do that, can I? And then you can go forward. Okay, they don't have someone to supervise and oversee the day-to-day operations. Well, guess what? I've done that. I had 20 employees before and I was overseeing them. I've done it really well. I can prove it. That's fine. They want to make sure that all the deliveries are on time. That's fine. I've done that because I helped my past company to improve the load time by 10%. So as you read the requirement, you feel better because you realize, of course, this is all stuff that I've done before. And for example, they're saying, well, we need to train people as well. You're going to be training people. And you say, oh, wow, amazing. I have worked as a training before. I trained 15 people before. I can do that. So, that's very useful. Then you read the next part, it says, how does the warehouse safety work in? Well, I've done that, I got my OSHA 30, I got all these, systems in my mind. I know because I've done that before. Because you see this, you've done it, you know what it is, they don't have to explain to you, reinvent the wheel. You just feel that your confidence is surging and you're like, actually, I can really fit in, hit the ground running and help these people to expand. If you had 2, 3, 4, 5 jobs all in different fields, which does happen by the time you're 30 or 40, then it is a good idea to increase your chances of getting a job, to prepare multiple resumes. If you worked as a chef for McDonald's, it's not the same as working in the logistics or working as an office manager. And maybe you worked in a school as an assistant for a while, so do prepare different skill sets, different curriculum vitae. You've done it once, then keep them updated so that should an opportunity come out for a company that you would love to work for, you will just go back to your CV and remember, oh yes, I used to do this and that. I'm actually quite able to do all these tasks and solve all these problems. And remember that a lot of skills that you have learned working in one field are transferable to another field, and therefore they can be quoted as very useful. And here is where the magic happens. As you realize by reading a job description with these eagle eyes and looking back at what you've done before, and you realize that you are the solution to this problem, then you feel that your level of anxiety is going down and your confidence level is going up, because more and more you have proof of just how much you can help this company. Isn't that amazing? So you bring this drive, this motivation to your job interview, because it's easy to talk about it, because you know exactly what the problem is and how you might have some creative ideas to talk about and to implement new system or maybe expand what is already there. Whatever it is, I'm just not gonna guess what's gonna happen, but just talking about your mind. Once your mind knows you're on stable ground, you've looked back at your skill, you can do this, then you can feel great about your application. Therefore, it is quite important for you when you look back at your curriculum vitae and your experience to not waste time to explain what you've done. Like if you say, waiter, they don't need to be told. Serving people at the table, taking orders, they know that. We really don't need to be told. But what you can say is increase delivery by 20%, or increase customer satisfaction by 5%, or whatever your job is. I've used the Lean Six method and I reduced the load times by 20%, and I improve the fulfillment accuracy by 50%. So these are data. So when the person from the HR department reads this CV, he's got data and he's like, okay, this is a person you want. And so when you see that you were able to do things, for example, you have trained 50 people in 3 days, just saying a number there, and then they're asking you in this company to train only 20, like, easily, I can do that. So when they read that, they think, wow, this person is just going to come here and do exactly the job. We don't have to even train them. They know exactly what to do. And that's wonderful. And as you realize that, your confidence becomes bigger. Just a point here, if you are coming from a different job, the HR manager will ask you, why do you want this change? Why do you look for this position? And you're starting at an entry level maybe, and do you want to work your way up? What's going on? So make sure that you explain everything about that. What you have to understand is only that if you read the job application form and you can't just walk in to do the job, you cannot give a solution to 75-80% of the problem just as you walk in, then not really a good solution. You need further training, you're not really the person that is going to be hired unless there is nobody else in the whole town. So be very specific as to what you can do, even if you come from a different field. The important thing when you are transitioning to a completely different type of field or industry is to keep in mind two aspects of this. One, you want to be transitioning to something that you really love being involved with. So you have taken your time to educate yourself about the subject. Maybe you're passionate about it and you've been for a long while, and that's your final chance after all these years to finally get into the job you want it to be. And you can actually speak confidently about this job when you are in interview stage, because you know what things are involved with it, because you've been in your mind thinking about this job for a long while. So it's just part of your way of thinking. Yes, one day I really want to go back to engineering. I always loved this and that. So it has to be clear in your mind you have a passion. I remember interviewing maybe 10 or 15 people for a nanny, live-in nanny, in my house many years ago. There were lots of good people and everyone had a very good set of skills. One in particular, though, wrote in her letter, because I have given very specific questions, and one wrote under the question, why do I want to get this job? And she said, well, because I always wanted to travel abroad and to visit new places, and this would be a wonderful experience for me. And so I was the hiring manager, right? And I thought, well, she's not coming because she loves children, she wants to help them to thrive, she wants to help maybe home educate the kids, or she wants to help them to learn the language. No, she's coming from a selfish point of view. She just wants to be working abroad, she wants to have a new experience, but she's got nothing to give to me. Later on, when she found out that out of 20 applicants, she was not the one that was chosen, she wrote to me complaining and saying, oh, this is not fair, that other people were given the possibility to come abroad to have this experience. And therefore she confirmed my initial thought that she was not really focused on answering questions and resolving problems, but she was just going to take her period in my home as a period to learn about life abroad, learn English and things like that, which is all very good, but you're not going to pass a job interview if you have the same attitude, I can tell you that. Well, she didn't pass anyway. So to make sure that you are preparing your curriculum vitae in such a way that you get the interview and you're going to be there full of confidence, make sure that your CV doesn't have very lengthy job descriptions of things that people already know. They already know what a waiter does, what a farmer does, they know that. A resume is really a brochure, a presentation of what you are as a person and what your professional capabilities are. So when you go and buy a motorbike, you don't want in the description, well, it has two nice round wheels and it can go up to 30 miles per hour and it's got a handlebar. You know what? Every single motorbike has that characteristic. How is that going to be helped? In the moment you say motorbike, you know what it is. So don't waste time explaining all these small things. Instead, you want to look for things like what is the horsepower, what is the fuel economy type, what type of tires are there, did they special, are the disc brake different, etc, etc. So what is the performance of this motorbike? That is what's going to have the HR manager thinking, wow, we want to have a look at this guy, we want to really have a chat. So be very specific. For example, I work with the operation manager and I developed a new load system and I assisted the delivery drivers, and with my work we reduced the loading times by half an hour. And so every day we saved 3 to 4 hours of loading just because of my input. And so when you start reducing problems in a company, implementing new systems, helping people, reducing inventory time, etc., reorganizing items, that's music to their ears. they make their hiring managers go, wow, I have some data, I can see that this person is a person that might really be able to work for me. So I want to create interview questions for this person to understand better what is their work performance, because performance is everything, isn't it? So at the end of the day, when you think about a hiring manager, he can make mistakes. He might just want to put a person that fits in with a culture of a company. Oh, we in Amazon, we only want people like that, and Apple, we only want people that are Microsoft, whatever. But it isn't just about the culture. You want a person that when you hire this person is elevating everything, is taking the company to the next level, is a problem solver, is a person that is innovative, helpful, and not just hardworking, but is a person that is going to grow and let the company grow. And so it's very, very important that you make all these to come to the surface in your curriculum vitae, so you can get a letter coming to you and say, come for an interview. Then when you're at the stage of the interview, you can have 2 or 3 pointers that can help you to pass. One of them is to create a rapport. Remember that the HR is higher than you, but you have to be following a little bit his body movement and his tone of voice, his speech, his language patterns and his vocabulary. So try to sit a little bit in his style or speak pretty much at his speed. Don't be the opposite. Don't start being very, very loud. If a person is very, very quiet, if he speaks slowly, don't go speak really, really fast. Try to be in tune with this person so he can relax and think, yeah, this person would fit nicely to work with me because as a person I'm already connecting. That's the number one thing. As you go in, if he gives you a very, very lame handshake, don't go and crush his hand in your own hands, because obviously this hiring manager does not like very strong grips, does he? My second point of advice is look at him in the eyes, but not quite in the eyes all the time. Look on the forehead, in between the eyes, so you're not staring at this person. And on the other hand, don't stare on your feet or at your feet. Don't look at the curtains. Look at the person and maybe hold something in your hands that can help you to feel a little bit busy. Know how to move your hands and practice. Number 3, practice, practice, practice. Imagine that this person will ask you certain questions and will tell you, talk to me about yourself. What have you done? You don't want to stare at the ceiling for one very painful minute. You want to know what you're going to talk about. So you can prepare an elevator pitch, basically something very short that describes who you are and what you do and what your aims are, so the person can then launch another question after having understood pretty much what you are about. An important aspect of your interview, in order to be confident, you have to know about your skills and your achievement, but also make sure that you're not arrogant. You want to say you're good, you done 20% more of this, 30% more of that, but don't just like, I was the best in the whole department. You know, sometimes if you cannot prove that, that's gonna be a little hard, and best is not also very descriptive. So make sure that you are talking facts and data when it's appropriate, so that you can help the person to understand how good you're going to be. My suggestion is to sit in front of a mirror or stand up and practice everything a few times, then record yourself, listen to your tone of the voice, the rhythm. Are you eating your words? Are you breathing properly? If you're not breathing properly and if you're already anxious now, you're going to create an anchor. You're going to be more anxious about your job interview than ever because you're going to trigger yourself. So learn little ways of relaxing yourself, breathing deeply, etc. We do expect people to be a little bit nervous, especially if it is a large company where there is a lot of pressure and maybe there are lots of candidates of very high quality, but you have to practice at home. How you're going to do this, how you're going to talk about something. If you cannot do it at home, how do you expect to be able to do it later on? I could be talking for a little longer, but I think that after 25 minutes of this, you have a pretty good idea of what it means to apply for a job feeling confident. If you think about it as a problem solver, the real person that is missing, you are the little missing part of a puzzle, and the company is going to be so grateful that you are there, because something is going to go very smoothly now and you're going to be on top of the problems. That's what you do, and you can cope under pressure, but you do realize when you need some help. So make sure that everything is well balanced, practice, listen to yourself, breathe deeply, learn to relax, and good luck with your job interview. And that was it for episode 53. I hope that this was useful. But if you still think that you feel that your heart is under your feet and you have butterfly in your stomach when it comes to speak in a job interview and you want to feel absolutely great, make sure you talk to me and have a free consultation by going to calendly.com/FranzSydney. And we can tackle any problems from anxiety to performance problems or speaking in public and even holding workshops. Maybe you're a trainer and you're worried, you have a speech problem, whatever it is, come to me and we'll see if I can help you. And most times, yes, I will be to help you just 1 to 2 sessions. So go and check me up on www.franzsydney.com. Thank you for being with me, and I'll hope to hear from you very soon. So remember to click and share if you like this episode. Write a nice review that helps me to put the numbers up, and share this article with any of your friends who maybe are looking for a new job, because the 2021 is a very special year for people moving and checking their priorities, and maybe getting a new job is one of these priorities. So thank you for being with me again, and until the next time, take care. Bye bye. You've listened to Create with Franz Sydney.